All right, man. Oh, well. All right. So that was awful. Uh, I don't even know what to say about that. I am literally so. The fact that Gabe Landeskog was our best player tonight, and he has not played in literally 3 years, is just absolutely embarrassing. It's embarrassing for everybody in this team. Honestly, I think Bednar is mentally soft. Like, I guess all it takes for him to actually go on a legit playoff run is, having one of the best rosters assembled in the past 20 years. And yeah, that team went 16-4. But when you have a 100.2 center in Kadri, you have, just such a deep team and a stacked blue line to the point where Burakovsky is getting scratched night in and night out. Yeah, I don't know. But either way, this is going to be me talking to you guys. I hope you guys enjoy. This is going to be me talking with the audience. So this is, whatever you guys want to talk about. Whatever you guys want to talk about, I am more than up to do so. And please, please, don't be shy. Don't be shy. Yeah, I don't know. I just really look forward to hearing what you guys have to say. Um, One thing that's really interesting is that we got a lot of uh, what's it called? We got a lot of intel that Emeka Egbuka is potentially going to be a member of the Denver Broncos. Let me see. Let me see. All right. So if I go over here, sorry, I don't what's it called. I don't use StreamYard very often, so this is me. Good lord. I don't know. I don't even know what to say, man. That was just awful. Once again, I'm just trying to figure out how to use this streaming platform. Here we go. So there was a lot of stuff that went on today that the Broncos are potentially going to be drafting wide receiver Emeka Egbuka. That would be absolutely fantastic if we were to do so. But yeah, here's what's going on with that as well. So, just looking at the Emeka Egbuka stuff, I mean, it's hold on, let's see if I can. All right, here we go. So it's basically been picking up steam that we are going to go Emeka Egbuka with our 20th overall pick. Egbuka is actually my third choice. He is my highest choice as far as offensive players go, but yeah, I would really, really like having Emeka Egbuka. Really like the idea of having just a weapon in the slot. I really like having the idea of, just a guy who can do it all in between that as well. And yeah, so with Emeka Egbuka, there's a lot of things that are going on as well. Like Igbuka is the most universally well-liked prospect, reliable, sure-handed, often compared to Buckeyes legend Terry McLaurin, and just the fact that they've had a lot of what's it called? They've had a lot of really, really good names at Ohio State, but they've never really, um, been the ones to just go absolutely ham in the NFL. But or they've all gone ham in the NFL. But Igbuka, I mean, he's kind of been a Robin throughout his career, and either way, I just think it's been really funny that today in the morning we went, or last night, this past week, I should say, we went from Trevion Henderson, and this morning we went to Mecca Buka. This afternoon we went to, or no, this morning we went to Ashton Jetty. This afternoon we went to Mecca Buka. Man, I'm just so pissed off. I'm just so pissed off, man. I just How? The Andy NFL prediction remains Travion Henderson. There we go. Um, yeah, I mean, I don't entirely disagree because uh I think he is what the Broncos are looking for as far as the running back, and just because he's really good at pass protecting and with him, unlike some of these other running backs, there's no wasted touches. Trevion Henderson, because he played in the committee, he knows that he is going to have to make the most of the opportunities that he's gotten. And yeah, overall, I just really, really I hope you're right. I hope you're right because Trevion Henderson would be amazing for us. But yeah, so to be completely honest, I I mean I still hope we go Derek Harmon, but that's not happening at this point. Like I think it's pretty clear that we're going to go with an offensive player, and yeah, ultimately I think Derek Harmon is going to be uh, long, long gone before we get the chance to pick him or anything like that. But yeah, so the Andy NFL prediction remains Trevion Henderson. That's pretty dang cool. I think. Did you do that in your mock draft or something? Did you do that in your mock draft? Yeah. Mm, guys, that game. Holy cow! I just have no other words. I have no other words on how to describe that game and what happened and what went on. And ugh, it's really hard. It's just really hard for me to compose myself and keep myself composed right now because that was just once again. I don't know what to say. I really don't know what to say about that. It was just awful, man. It was just awful. Mm. Um, but yeah, I am basically oh shit. What did I just do? Alright, there we go. I am basically going to treat this as more of like a, talk to my audience sort of thing. And if you guys want to chime in on anything I have to say, then you are more than welcome to do so. But yeah, I just sent the StreamYard link to the Discord. We'll see if anybody finally get all the roster upgrades, second, third line goalies, the second, third line upgrades, goalie upgrade, and we're still on the way to being first round exits. Yeah, that's the most embarrassing thing about all this is that you trade for Marty Natchez or you split the asset of Mika Rantanen. And Natchez, I mean, he has kind of been a non-factor the past few games. But I will say that we still made it out very, very well, especially for splitting an asset like Rantanen in our contract year. But Brock Nelson, absolutely invisible. And we gave up our 2026 first and 2027 first for him. Mackenzie Blackwood, yeah. Mackenzie Blackwood has literally been the only bright spot of the series. I think if you're looking at games 1, 2, and 3 for the Avalanche, thirsty. I think there needs to be a very uncomfortable discussion to be had about Jared Bednar because man, oh man, he is disappointing me. He is very much disappointing me lately, and it's just terrible, man. It's just absolutely terrible what's gone on. I guess he just can't beat Pete DeBoer. That's all I have to say about that. And there's just nothing you can do except sigh. So yeah, that's basically the way I feel about that. And yeah, once again, drop your comments. Let me know what you think of just anything, anything. It's open mic night. I titled that this for a reason. So this is going to be hopefully a viewer led stream, and um, man, it's just like I'm speechless. I'm speechless. I'm genuinely. I don't know what to say about that one. I don't know what to say about that one for real. Oh shit! Why do you want Derek Harmon so bad? All right, so Derek Harmon has been my number one preference for the Broncos throughout this whole draft process. I think my thing with Derek Harmon is that I was very, very much of the idea that we should attack the interior defensive line in our draft because, you don't want to get caught with your pants down. And especially when, the strength of our team this year or ever since we won the Super Bowl, the strength of our team has been defense, even in the years where we weren't good. Like the identity of our team always was defense, and I wanted to keep that going. I wanted to draft on the strength, and when you get a four-man pass rush of Zach Allen, Derek Harmon, and Nick Benito and Jonathan Cooper, that's arguably the best four-man front in the league. So when you have the ability to just pressure the quarterback and pressure him over and over again, and you don't have to blitz, then that's absolutely fantastic. Because who are you going to throw to? Who are you going to throw to when you have those four guys absolutely bearing down on you? And in the secondary, you have Patrick Surtain, you have Riley Moss, you have Talanoa Hufanga, you have Brandon Jones, you have Jaquan McMillan at nickel, you have Chris Abrams-Drain as your fourth corner, which is absolutely absurd to think about. So yeah, that's why I want Derek Harmon so bad. I know I kind of went on a tangent there, but this is Derek Harmon's always been my number one. Derek Harmon and Kenneth Grant, they've been my number one and number two. And it's just an added bonus that we watched the Philadelphia Eagles not too long ago literally beat Patrick Mahomes by way of, you know, being able to just pressure the quarterback at will, being able to, send four and doing whatever. But yeah. So this is if you guys have any words for that Avs game, will I go on a live stream the moment after the Broncos select Desmond Watson at pick number 197? No. Because let's just be honest, I might have to go to the doctor after that because it's going to last longer than 4 hours. What can I say? No, but what I am going to do is I am going to react to every Broncos pick. I am going to, set up a live camera for every Broncos pick. And, the reason, unfortunately, I'm not going to the Let's Talk Broncos draft party. I wish I could, but I thought it was more important for me to, be home during the draft and A, watch it with my dad, and B, make content immediately afterwards. So, yeah. Yeah. I think I should, just for the memes and just be like, the Broncos, you know what? If we do select Desmond Watson, I will make a video titled, the Broncos just made the best pick of the entire NFL draft in the 6th round. Like, that's basically what I will do. That's basically what I'll do. Man, this is at least making me feel a little better. Like, we're just. Man. It's been a while since I've come on this show this dejected. And I think the last time I was so dejected after I was recording was, I think, the Bengals game. Yeah. I was really, really mad that we lost the Bengals game, especially after all the miraculous stuff that went our way for. Can't wait for the new video. The Broncos won the draft by selecting a morbidly obese defensive tackle. All right. Hold on. Let's go on Twitter. All right. Let's go on Twitter. I'm literally just going to search up Desmond Watson, and we're gonna look at this together. We are going to look at this together. All right. Hold on. Once again, I have no idea how to use this platform because usually I'm the one that gets invited to be on StreamYards. And yeah. All right, here we go. All right, so what are we going to do? Desmond Watson. Here we go. I mean, do you guys not want this dude? Like, do you guys not want this guy? Okay. 464-pound defensive tackle Desmond Watson ran a 5.86 40-yard dash, which is insanely fast. Using his height, weight, and speed, here's what he would run at at lighter weights. O lineman, 300 pounds, 471. Tight end, 255, 434. Running back, 255, 408. Wide receiver, 210, 395. Man, y'all are crazy. It did not take long for this to turn into a Desmond Watson agenda video. But hold on, sorry. 36 reps on the bench. 36 reps on the bench. Desmond Watson weighed in at 464 pounds. Oh no. Oh no, this guy's a Vikings guy. He wants his team to what's it called? Focus on other positions besides IDL and draft Desmond Watson in round 7. Nah, bro, you got to draft him in round 6 because the Broncos are going to trade up for him. The only man who can stop the tush push. Maybe low key, since everybody's talking about him like as a tush push stopper, I feel like he is going to an NFC team, like in all honesty, but an owner's vote in May could do away with the tush push forever. We have never ever seen a player like Desmond Watson play football before. Yeah. 25-inch vertical. Here we go. Oh my god, this was electric. All right, we're going to watch this in super duper 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 slow motion. We got to watch this in super slow motion. All right, ready? 3, 2, 1. Oh. Just look at him, man. Just look at him. Oh my god. All right, we're going to watch this 40-yard dash in all its glory. So basically, this is how I see this 40-yard dash in my head. I see it at 1.5 speed. That's basically how I see it. But in actuality, this was the 40-yard dash. Oh man, it's so legendary. It's like the way I can describe Desmond Watson's 40-yard dash is it's like when the garbage truck man comes by your house and everybody talks about the garbage truck arm, and everybody talks about how legendary it is. I feel like that's how legendary Desmond Watson's 40-yard dash was. Oh yeah. I can see my DMs real quick. Yeah. Should I follow Benjamin Albright? Please ban the tush push. Why don't you draft 450-pound Desmond Watson? Yeah. He would be the biggest league. Playing in the league at 464 pounds, so he needs to lose weight. But the Eagles have not picked up Jordan Davis's 5th-year option yet. I mean, that's kind of crazy to me because I feel like he's been pretty good, but I haven't heard much about him. Big fat run stopper who can't be moved. That's so funny. 83.1 run defense grade since 2022. Oh my god, this is my stuff. Yo, I didn't even realize that. But yeah. I didn't realize. No way this is Desmond Watson. Wait, what was this rash? 1.45. Yeah, that speed score though. Oh my god, that size score is amazing. That size score is absolutely incredible. Yes. Yes, thank you, Jeremy. Thank you, Jeremy. Oh my god, it makes me so happy that you have popped in and I get to hear your beautiful voice and see your beautiful face, at least in my comment section, because yeah, that was no man, that was so painful. That was so painful. But yeah, Jeremy, I'm spreading some Desmond Watson propaganda. So just for you, man, I'm going to pull up some Camp Scatterboo propaganda. Dang. Dang, dang, dang. All right. This game made Cam Scatterboo a college football playoff legend. Yeah, this game was absolutely absurd. The fact that he nearly willed ASU back to being within this game is just absolutely absurd. Run through a guy's face vibes. I mean, holy wow. Yeah, no. One of my ideas, if we, the Cam Scadaboo, Travion Henderson backfield will be legendary. One of my ideas with, drafting a guy like Cam Scadaboo is it drove me absolutely bananas how bad we were in short yardage situations last year. So you get a guy like Cam Scadaboo, and you basically get him to fix all the short yardage situations, and that's basically the idea behind it. I like what's it called? The idea behind having a guy like Cam Scadaboo blocking for an angry runner, like Quinshon Judkins, like Damian Martinez, like Kyle Manatt guy, like someone like that. Yeah, favorites to draft Cam Scadaboo. Why is Oh my god, I'm so thirsty. So these are all the teams that need running back. No? Yeah. And yeah, I mean, yeah, that performance was absolutely legendary, Jeremy. And he said, I've been annoyingly positive this offseason, but trading K9 just to draft Cam Scadaboo at 52 might send me over the edge. I mean, yeah. Cam Scadaboo is essentially David Montgomery, but a better processor in closed areas. Well, isn't that just Josh Jacobs? I don't know. This is a mildly compelling argument. I gotta say. No, my opinion on Scadaboo it hasn't changed. Like, I think is he a running back? Like, I don't know. I genuinely don't know, but I do. The reason I am intrigued with the idea of Scadaboo is because I think if you use him as an H back, I think that role is more intriguing to me than just having being a running back. But yeah, um, high end prospect with immediate starter potential. A lot of people really, really stand Scadaboo, and I don't have a strong opinion on him. Like, I genuinely, I don't think he sucks, but if the Broncos take him in like the fourth round, I'm not going to be like, I'll be intrigued. I'll be intrigued for sure. I get the vision with Scadaboo. That's just basically all I got to say. So I'll make it a priority to leave every single draft with Cam Scadaboo round 2. Elite production, loved his traits on film. Purpose yards, missed tackles forced. The NFL should treat him as a day 2 prospect. I mean, we'll see. Dominator rating, this is basically how much of your team's offense you command. And wow, look at Caleb Johnson at Iowa. But Cam Scadaboo, look, 40.7%. Lane Larson on here as well. Some of the favorites. So yeah, I mean, Ja'Cory Krosky Merritt. That was really interesting. Yo, Marky. Yo, you should hop in here. I sent the StreamYard link to what's it called, the Discord. But yeah. So I also don't really know how to use StreamYard. Either way, I came on here and honestly, there we go. There we go.
I was one step ahead of you, bro.
Yes, let's.
What's up, man?
Oh, not much. How are you, Mark?
Good, bro. Good, bro. Just chilling. Just chilling. I just finished my mock the. I should call it Mark the mock, but
yeah, you should.
Peter Schrager's. I thought it was really good. It helped me kind of chill out from that absolute debacle of an avalanche.
You need to go back and watch like the first 5 minutes of this because oh my god, I haven't acted like this on camera in a long time. But
yeah.
Okay. Your realist take on Loveland. Why do I feel like Sean really wants him? Yeah, no, I would not be surprised at all if Sean Payton like goes to the press conference after round 1 and is like, yeah, Loveland is the guy we wanted. There are a handful of guys where I could see that viably being the case. Like, with all the Igbuka hype that went on earlier today, that would definitely be something that I could see. But my real stake on Loveland, I'd be happy if we drafted him. Like, I think Igbuka means more to our offense than a guy like Colston Loveland or would, but at least in the short term. But I really, really like Loveland. Mark, your thoughts?
Sorry, what was the question here?
It's basically
between Loveland and Igbuka?
Yeah, Hydra Amo is basically your realist take on Loveland. Why do I feel like Sean really wants him?
Well, because I think that Colston Loveland is just goddamn really good. I mean, when you listen to what Sean Payton said about the interior triangle, right, and being able to find guys that can win across the
Mhm,
middle of the field, that's exactly what it is that Colson Loveland does. I think that he can do all the things that Evan Ingram can do from a receiving standpoint
mhm.
with more upside, but he's
Yep,
also someone that is not going to be much of a tell because he can play, your wide tight end at situations where you need to. He can play in line and he can block his ass off, and he can get so damn creative with those
mhm.
two tight ends, just mixing up personnel and mixing up different things. So, yeah, I just think he's super good. That's
Yeah.
that's that's really what it is. And he fits like a glove with
Yeah, I've
Sean
been
Payton.
I've been a metronome on Loveland this draft season because when we were first doing this, like in January, February, I was like, I didn't really see it with Loveland because the way people talked about him, I thought he'd be like an absolute baller in the yak department, but he had like 7 missed tackles over the past 2 years. And everybody, like when they brought up his yak ability, they brought up that like one clip against Texas where he literally stiff armed a dude. But I mean, he doesn't need to be a supreme yak threat to like be effective. I think one thing that I really, really, really want the Broncos to get better at is I want them to be better at sustaining drives, whether it's on the ground or through the air. And
Yep.
I think Loveland would just make that so much better. I think Loveland would make that so, so, so much better. And, if Loveland does need a little bit to develop or a little bit of time to, earn the trust of the coaching staff, which I mean, it's not uncommon for Sean Payton, no matter how high he picks rookies. Um, then yeah, I think it just makes too much sense. It does make a lot of sense. So yes, if we were to draft Colson Loveland tomorrow night, I would definitely, and if we traded up for him, I would not be surprised at all. I wouldn't be surprised at all.
Yeah, I wouldn't be either. I think I think it's just the question is where do you think is an appropriate part of the draft in your opinion, like to trade up, right? Like what's too much and where do you think
Hmm.
that like starts? Like if he falls past a certain team, what do you think? What do you feel like happens there?
I feel like if he falls anywhere past number 14, because honestly, if he's there at number 14, like Indianapolis has been mocked to tight end for the past year in way too early 2025 mocks. And now with our actual 2025 mocks, everybody with Indianapolis's trash tight end room, one that basically rivaled our production, everybody and their mother have had the Colts going tight end. So, yeah. Yeah, that's my thing. That's my thing. I think it's not worth it going up to like number 12, number 13 to Miami. Or actually, no, no, no. I think it might be worth it.
Let me pull up like the NFL draft points thing.
Yeah.
Hold on. Because I had the points chart that a lot of these people use.
Wow.
What?
I just got one of my friends just sent me a very, very angry voicemail. Like pretty much half of the words are blurred out because it's like curse words. I didn't get to watch the game, but I hope you're talking about the series. I hate the Stars, dude. We need that. I don't know. That's basically the stuff he said to me.
Yep. And yeah, Hydra ammo. You
Mhm.
ain't lying. I was thinking about this the other day. I was like, man, it's gonna be really fun with the draft. And then there's a long period where you're just like, holy hell, what do we do?
Yeah,
Hopefully, we'll at least have a few more weeks of Avs and Nuggets to talk about or like to look at. But
I'm not encouraged.
dude,
I'm not encouraged. Let me just say that.
dude, I'm not either. I'm actually really surprised,
Yeah.
specifically for the Avs, not
Yeah,
necessarily the Nuggets.
I
But
honestly thought they had a pretty good shot at going deep just because, all the additions they made this past
yeah,
offseason. And like, I knew, like, listen, I know Dallas is our kryptonite. I know that they just play a brand of hockey that's just so hard for our team
it's
to match.
unbelievably annoying too.
Yeah,
But
I agree.
kudos to them for sure.
Yeah, kudos to them. But yeah, I don't
Yeah,
know. Like, I think honestly, if we lose this series in 5 or 6, then basically, yeah, I don't know. I think Bednar's as good as gone.
yeah, he might be.
And honestly, like I said, I mean, like when have we? I guess early on in Bednar's career, we exceeded expectations. Like first of all, in 2018, we should have never even made the playoffs to begin with, but we went on a remarkable run that year. 2019, we made to the second round, game 7 against San Jose. But every other year after that, besides the year we won the Stanley Cup, we've fallen short of what would have been a successful season. So, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it's interesting stuff. I guess we'll see with them. But anyways, back to the trade. So if the Broncos wanted to move up to 13 to Miami,
Yeah.
they would have to obviously give up pick 20. They would
Mhm.
have to give up their second round pick 51. But in
Mhm.
exchange, they would get Miami's fourth rounder, probably their second fourth rounder. Yeah. Pick
Yeah.
135 in return. And that would be pretty even. Actually, it
Okay.
might still favor them a little bit. So we would have 2 fourth rounders, a third, and then obviously keep our fourth. So it's
Yeah.
not a crazy amount. I think for
No.
that you could justify making a move if you love Loveland that much.
Yeah. If you love Mr. 45 minutes north of Denver, Colorado town.
Yeah.
um, but yeah, if they view Loveland as like their dude, I'm gonna trust them when it comes to that.
Yeah.
Let's see. Andy says DJ mocked it as 13 plus 116 for 20 plus 51. That feels pretty fair to me. Um, my thing is though, like, are you fine waiting until the third round on running back? That's basically what this boils down to. If you think that you can fix your trash run game and your trash uh run game or the fact that you had literally no running back talent this past year by at earliest the third round, then I mean, yeah, I'd say it's fine to go for Loveland, but that's ultimately up to the front office and the coaching staff. But I think that's something I'd be fine with, especially because like our run game was not just trash because the running backs were horrible last year. Um, there were a lot of issues. There were a lot of issues that the entire offensive ecosystem. It was just kind of a trickle down effect. No middle of field passing weapons, inconsistent middle of field passing game.
Mhm.
Powers, Wattenberg, not
Yeah.
good. Run blocking, yeah,
Yeah, especially early on. I mean, especially early on in the season, like we found ourselves in just a lot of first and 15,
exactly.
or second and 12, and at that point you eliminate the running game from that particular, at least that series, unless they get a first down, then it starts over. But yeah, it
Yeah,
makes it really tough. It makes it really tough. And Jeremy says, I do think we could wait until round 3 for running back. I think it is absolutely a big possibility. And I would be a proponent of it, man, because you're getting really good value there. Obviously, it depends
mhm,
on who you get. But I'll tell you what, bro. Like if we took Ibuka and then we traded back up into the first and we took, I don't care, Hampton, I don't care who it is, Judkins,
mhm.
uh, Henderson, that is like the perfect scenario. Or even substitute Ibuka out for Loveland and you come back up and get it. I love the idea of that. I just have a feeling that's what's going to happen. But yeah,
Mhm.
I mean, we certainly could wait. I think that you just try to build out as many weapons and pass catchers
Yeah,
for both as you
yeah, of
possibly can.
course. Like I say on Discord all the time, ejaculatory volume. That's how I'd be
Mhm.
feeling if that happened.
Yeah, just
Hydramo says,
everywhere.
my dream scenario is trading back with the Browns or Giants. Honestly, I have been saying this for the past week. I really would like the Broncos to trade back in this draft because, we've had such a resource strapped team over the past few years, and it's incredible what we've done with no resources. So this is the time where I'd finally give the coaching staff and front office the chance to get some actual depth
Mhm.
because we're 4 for 4 with all of our first picks under the George Payton era. And they're all core guys too. Sertan, Mims, Benito, Nix. And
Mhm.
yeah, overall, like I said, this coaching staff, they've done a phenomenal job, and I would like to see what they could do with more assets. Now
Yeah.
the caveat is this class is not really a deep class. Like it is, but it also isn't. Like it doesn't have a ton of blue chip talent that'll push guys who are like elite prospects down to the Broncos. Like last year when we had 6 quarterbacks, and we had guys like Brian Thomas Jr. being selected at 23rd overall. That's not going to happen this year.
Yeah.
But I don't know. It's still tantalizing. Like
I I
even
th- I do think though, like the more I think about it, the more it makes sense. I guess I don't know if it's a bold take, but I think tomorrow I think the first round is going to set a record for most trades made in a first round of an NFL draft.
That would be
Um,
awesome.
regardless of what a lot of people say, because just like you said, there's not a lot of blue chip players, but there's going to be so many players that like certain teams rank very highly that other teams don't. And
Mhm.
they're going to want to go up and get those guys to ensure that they got it if they're not really crazy. Like if they feel like there's certain players that are blue chip for them and then it's just 50 players that are all kind of ranked similarly,
Mhm.
there's going to be crazy amount of movement, and I just feel like it's going to be wild. I think there's going to be trades like crazy throughout the entire draft, but especially tomorrow night. And that's I think what I'm really excited. So
See, that actually makes a lot of sense to me. You know why? Because this is the first time ever, ever in the Super Bowl era that every single team is entering the first round with their original draft pick,
mhm.
which is
Yeah, which is
absurd.
crazy.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
which is
just
absurd.
insane.
That is an insane stat. But
Mark
yeah.
Cuban.
Oh, Andy. You know what, man? I've come to the point where I, I think that there's a really high possibility that the Broncos, obviously, well, I wouldn't say a high possibility, but there's certainly a pretty decent chance that we take running back in the first round. I'm just going to have to be okay with it. But I would say if it was Henderson or Judkins, I would be happier than if it was Hampton. I do like, I've, that's it. Like those are my final rankings. I like both of those guys
Mhm.
more than Hampton, even for the Broncos. But yeah, we'll see. I did. I gave it a B grade. Yep, I gave it a
Yeah.
B grade on the video, and it was because it's hard to be like it's an F. It's such a big need.
Mhm.
It obviously has got to get like a decent mark. But I'm gonna have my hesitations about it like long term. But like just like I said, I think it's one of those things where you can worry about it later, and you just
Mhm.
hope that it doesn't backfire on you. But
Exactly. Exactly. Oh, better than I anticipated. Yeah,
yeah, I
but
think I think the only one I gave a really bad grade on, like I was like, man, because I always thought like, honestly, there's not really anybody that the Broncos could take in round one that I would be like super pissed about, like realistic. They're not going to take a quarterback,
yeah, no.
obviously. But Walter Nolan got a D minus for me, and I think that all this talk about him being like a lock for the top 15 and all that, I'm hoping it's true, and I hope that he just goes somewhere else. So I don't have to worry about dealing with it because yeah, it scares me that we would go for like a really high upside player that I think's got a lot of questions. I just think that there's better interior defensive linemen for the team that we have.
Yeah, what's it called? He just has such a high chance of busting that if we drafted him over Derek Harmon and Kenneth Grant, I would throw up. I would
Yeah,
honestly be like, "What?" Like, and
yeah,
part of the reason why we've had such an insane turnaround is because we have culture guys. We have guys who don't have those sorts of questions when they come into the building.
yeah.
We draft guys who absolutely love football and, really tight locker room. As I used to see, I used to go work at a place where they used to come in for dinner all the time.
Mhm.
And, you never know what adding a grenade like that into the locker room could do.
Yeah,
Just
I
like,
mean, and you would obviously have to think like, well, obviously Sean and George did their homework on him, but still, man, like there's a lot of on the field stuff that is questionable. Like it would get to the point where, man, if we took him on Hampton and then there was reports came out that said it was between Hampton and Nolan, I'd be like,
yeah,
cool, makes me feel better about the pick.
yeah,
Like
exactly.
I would much rather. Yeah, T Mac did get a C. You're right. I think I
Okay.
would. I think T Mac is somebody that I'm not. I'm just not sold in on for the similar reasons as Nolan. Like you see the flashes, but
Hmm.
the red flags are like just glaring
Yeah.
and like yeah, and I mean, and then you got to think too. Like that. I mean, that would mean you're passing up on Matthew Golden. Probably that means you're probably passing up on Emeka Ibuka, and it means you're passing up on Jaden Higgins,
Yeah.
and that just kind of hurts me. So
Yeah.
I don't
That
like
hurt
that.
me too. Hydramo says if we don't trade back, we got to go Harmon or Grant. I agree. Wouldn't you rather have a D lineman on for 5 years plus or a running back that could fizzle out in 3, 4 years? Here's what I will say. Okay. The Broncos, they are in a position where running back round one makes sense. Like, is it the smartest pick? I don't think so. I don't think so. I still think defensive line or wide receiver are the smart picks in round one. But I think if you're looking for you know, instant impact, high upside, like plug and play day one, get your guy sort of thing, then yeah, I running back does make sense. But yes, I agree. You've probably been watching my content, High Drama, if you're sold on D-line round one.
Yeah. Hydromo gets it, man. He understands it. You're absolutely right. Fizzle on 3 to 4 years. Like, if we took a prospect that had like injury concerns and people were freaking out about the injuries, but it was a defensive lineman and you knew he was really good, but there was injury concern. People freak out about that because
Yeah,
they're like, oh, well, what if he only plays for us for 3 or 4 years and then he gets hurt? But when it comes to running back, it's like, dude, it's almost guaranteed that you're gonna have him only for 4 years.
yeah.
It's like at this point, it's almost a guarantee. So why doesn't it bother players like people when it comes to that? It's like you have to understand you're not gonna get somebody that's gonna be a franchise player for so long. It's they all got a shelf life. So
Walter Nolan's motor runs as cold as the North Pole. Yeah, yeah. Jeremy's saying I have a hard time seeing George Payton picking Nolan over Grant or Harmon. Yeah, that's
100% right.
absolutely
Yeah,
true.
100% right.
That's absolutely true, especially because George Payton, he's learned a lot of the lessons that he's failed from early on in his GMing career. And, high character dude. Like, I mean, I don't even know anything about Grant or Harmon's character. Like, I've literally heard nothing. But what I do know is that we've heard a lot about Walter Nolan's character,
Mm-hmm.
even back when he was in the transfer portal. And honestly,
Yeah.
it's just, he's just such a, how do I put this? He's just such a grenade, like,
Mm-hmm.
honestly. And I
Yeah.
just want to let somebody else jump on it.
And his numbers aren't even that special, man. Like even on the numbers front, like he has those flashes, but that's it. Like, but you talk about consistency. Harmon and Grant demolish him.
Yeah.
In really all facets. So it's crazy. Who's your? I know you on your dream draft scenario is Derek Harmon. Do you still feel that way the night before the
Yes.
draft?
Harmon
Yeah.
is still, if I'm the Broncos GM, Harmon is still the guy I'm taking.
And number two is who?
Number 2 is Grant.
So let me ask you, and I'm just curious. I just want to know
Mhm.
your thoughts. Why? So why do you think a player like Harmon or Grant is better fit for this particular Broncos team than someone like Emeka Ibuka, for example?
So I just think that the upside of a guy like Derek Harmon, and I think, honestly, this is going to sound really, really insane maybe, but I think he probably means more to us than any skill player because of the philosophical reasons, okay? He's a great counterpunch to what Kansas City is, or, if we were able to, replicate with what the Eagles did in the Super Bowl, having a four-man front, like I've mentioned this a lot. Allen, Harmon. Hi, Howie. I hope you guys enjoy the stream.
Yeah, welcome, Howie.
Yes. And do you take account positional value in a salary cap league? Yes, absolutely. That's why I'm so big on interior defensive line round one, especially because guess what? The Broncos have so many contracts on the defensive line up. But yes, so Harmon is 310 and has 50 plus pressures. Absolutely. I feel like he would fit our defense so well. And honestly, I feel like he would just be the completionist of the defense. I feel like he'd be the completionist because, we fixed all the spots where we were starting trash cans this year. Like no more PJ Locke starting, no more Cody Barton starting, no more Justin Sternad starting, at least for the time being. But yeah, to answer your question, I just think the philosophical reasons, I just think it makes too much sense. I feel like he's a great counterpunch to the way we got our ass kicked this past year by Buffalo and Baltimore. And yeah, the team we've been chasing, the Kansas City Chiefs, they literally lost because they could not do anything offensively. And, when they have offensive line troubles. Yeah. And also the Chargers, they just signed Mekhi Becton to be in the interior. They just signed Najee Harris. So they're going to be pretty physical next year.
Yeah.
And we just got to get beefier. And honestly, I feel against the Chargers, we don't need to get better. It's kind of like the Avs. I feel like we just need to be tougher.
Exactly. That's actually a perfect analogy. You're absolutely
Yeah.
right. Like the Avs are a more talented team than the Stars, but the Stars just play a certain way and do it really well. And it's a kryptonite. I agree. I think you nailed it, dude. I think you make a really good point. Like I only would choose Emeka over those guys because I'm like fascinated with just like get Bo a weapon, please. I just want to know what weapon. But from a philosophical standpoint, I could not agree 1,000%. And just like how he had said in the chat, right? Like, do you take into account positional value in a salary cap league? Yes, you do. But in addition, it's more like you got to think about, okay, which positional groups are getting the most money, right? It's going to be obviously quarterbacks. Now it's going to be left tackles. Obviously the elite receivers and the defensive linemen are probably like, look at the highest paid defensive linemen. They're usually like probably number 2.
Yeah.
And so it's like, dude, why not take advantage of a really good defensive lineman for as cheap as possible as well before you ultimately know you're going to pay? Like, it's one of those where you're only going to be able to pay so many of them, but you need a lot of them.
Mhm.
So always replenishing is extremely smart. Always
Yeah.
replenishing corners and edge rushers is also extremely smart. So yeah,
Yeah.
same thing.
Exactly. It's like a fire. Like, do you want to wait until the fire is out before you put more logs on? No, you don't. And the Broncos, they have a lot of contracts. And guess what? Harmon would just fit our defense so well because we rely on swarm sacks. Like, I know Benito had like 13 or whatever. I know Cooper had double digits. I know Allen, he either got double digits or got really close. But I feel like our defense relies so heavily on a bunch of guys being
Mhm.
there. And Harmon's
Yep.
very, very disruptive. I don't care that he's a poor finisher. Like, yes, is that a problem? Sure. And just the fact that he's had 1 year of really elite play from the D line position, like that's probably why he's not going to be a top 10, top 15 pick. But
Mhm.
I like Mason Graham, but I don't think the gap from him to Harmon is that big. I honestly don't.
No, I agree with you. Yeah, the whole like not a good finisher. I mean, dude, what 47 pressures
Mm-hmm.
is insanity. And like think about how many sacks he's created because of like taking on double teams or because
Mm-hmm.
of those pressures. Like those kinds of things, when he's surrounded by John Franklin Myers and Zach Allen and Benito and Cooper coming off of the edge, and he's actually getting like one-on-ones,
Mm-hmm.
it's not going to be an issue with the
No,
finishing. I don't think
no. And like I said,
he's in a different position where he's going from being like the best player on his defensive line to not the best. And
exactly.
as a result, he's going to get better matchups.
And like I said, like Allen, Cooper, Benito, Harmon, that's probably the best four-man front in the league. And then you
Yeah.
have Patrick. You probably have the best secondary in the league behind him.
Yeah.
That's my thinking.
No
Like I
shit.
feel like to catch up to those elite teams in the AFC, that's what's going to happen. All right,
What
slam
if
and
the Bron-
Sammy.
what if the Broncos shocked there? Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Oh wait, I was just going to read this comment, but actually, you should go ahead first.
Uh, that's fine. That's a good comment,
Yeah,
Slam
yeah.
and Sammy Joe. I like that. I would say, what would your reaction be if the Broncos just shocked everyone tomorrow and they took like Jade Barron or Will Johnson?
You know, I like those guys as prospects. I really do. But I feel the same way. Actually, I was about to say I'd feel the same way if they drafted offensive line, but guess what? I'd probably be more disappointed if we went secondary rather than if we went offensive line.
Mm-hmm.
Because at least with offensive line, you're just like, all right, franchise quarterback, I get it. Not my favorite. Secondary, I'd be like, what are we doing? Like, we've proven that we don't need high investment dudes besides Patrick Surtain to make this thing work,
Yeah.
with Jim Leonard coaching them. So, yeah, push towards the offensive side. It feels like defense is 95% of the way there, 100%. Only questions you have right now, defensive line, interior defensive line, at least going forward, nose tackle. Like, that's the thing. And inside linebacker too. Like those are literally the only questions. Those are the only positions you can realistically attack right now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and Jerry makes a good point. I think a lot of the times too, these coaches, especially like offensive-minded egomaniacs like Sean Payton, they always think I can bring the best out of offensive players, so we can get like value there and get the elite guys on the defense. So I don't have to worry about the defense. A lot of times that's what they think. I mean, that's probably why they attacked the offseason the way that they did. So he's just like, you know what? I want the defense to be so damn good, and I don't have to worry about it. And then whatever ingredients you give me to cook up on offense, I can make it work. That's what he's thinking. Whether it's the right philosophy or not, I would not be surprised if he thought that way.
Mm-hmm. Who had 47 pressures? Harmon, James Pierce?
Derek Harmon.
Yes. Actually, I think on PFF he had 55 or something like that. Or I don't know.
Yeah,
Maybe
it
I'm
was
tweaking.
it was quite a bit.
Yeah, it was a lot. And I remember I looked at like the top edge rushers in the class, like Pierce and
Yeah, he had
Norman Lott.
43 quarterback pressures, and
Okay.
he had a 17.6% pass rush win rate, which is ridiculoso
Yeah.
for
Hey,
an
Jeremy.
interior defensive lineman.
Jeremy, I think the Sean Payton could make the offense 90% with a third round running back and a developmental tight end. Um, I get where you're coming from with this, but my thing is like, why not just pay the premium? Why not just pay the premium and get him to take that next step? Because yes, let's be honest. I know that there was a ton of buzz this morning about the Broncos potentially moving up for Genty. Probably not going to happen. But if you get a guy like Genty, like compared to a guy like, I don't know, third round running back, Devin Neal, DJ Giddens, like I'm sorry. But I still think the premium, for a running back or tight end, like, it usually just doesn't work out to draft those positions in the first round. That's another part of why I'm more on the side of D-line, is because you look at the tight end rate for guys that were taken in the first round over the past 8 years, absolutely horrific. Like if you're looking at, was it worth it for the team that drafted them? It's pretty laughable for tight end, especially.
Yeah, no, that's a good point too, for sure. It's gonna be a fascinating draft, man. But yeah, the answer, there's another one. He said Derek Harmon or James Pierce. James Pierce and Derek Harmon actually had the exact same amount of quarterback pressures last year, but the difference is that James Pierce is a edge rusher. And still Derek Harmon had more quarterback hits, and he did so on basically the same amount of snaps. So yeah, I mean, he was putting like edge rusher numbers up
from the interior.
From the interior, and he's a hell of a run defender too.
Oh yeah, like so many times when I was watching him, I literally watched him get double teamed, and he just stood tall. He just stood his anchor and still shedded. I'm in love with Derek Harmon, man.
Yeah, he's dope.
I'm in love with him. I'm in love with Desmond Watson too, as I'm sure you guys know.
Yeah.
Y'all like Robinson or Peebles? They're like my Walmart version of Kenneth Grant and Derek Harmon. I don't know. You probably know more about these guys than I do.
And Ty Robinson is a stud.
Yeah.
Even though he was unfortunately a Cornhusker, he's a really good player that I think is going to go quite a bit earlier than at least the PFF mock draft simulator does. Like I can see him being a day 2 guy. Kind of like Derek, you get Derek Wolfe vibes from him.
Yeah.
Peebles, I don't know as much about. I mean, I know he's more of that like beefier nose tackle type of run stuffer. I think he's a later mid round guy, but he seems like, listen, I'm always down to add beef to the D line. I know you are. You love that. You love adding, the 390, 460 pound guys. So
yeah. I'm not even gonna lie, like I don't remember anything about Peebles except for when he entered the transfer portal. I think it was from either UNC or Duke. I can't remember. But honestly, I have heard literally nothing about him. So any chance Mason Graham profited off of being teammate of Kenneth Grant plus elite coaching? Any chance he busts? I've seen a lot of YouTubers that scout D-line talent say that Mason Graham is more of a question mark than a lot of people think. Now, I don't know the intricacies of playing defensive line or anything like that, but any chance Mason Graham profited off being a teammate of Kenneth Grant? Yes, but the other caveat with that is any chance Kenneth Grant profited off being a teammate of Mason Graham?
Yeah.
Like, that's just what you got to think about there. And any chance he busts, I mean, yeah, there's always a chance that these guys bust.
Oh, you're right, man. He is. And I don't know why. I always get Peebles and Zeke Biggers confused. I always mix those two up. Maybe because they both have like really weird names. So my bad. Yeah, Peebles is he's not a very big guy at 6'1", 290.
Yeah, no. But what's it called? Do you have any comps for Derek Harmon from a RAS standpoint? No, actually, I don't. Not from a RAS standpoint, because I don't exactly remember how he tested. But
I can't even see his RAS keeps showing as NA.
Yeah. But from a film standpoint, people are going to think I'm smoking crack when I tell you my comp for him. But
Chris Jones.
Yeah.
I can see it. I see a lot of the traits.
Like I literally he just lives in the backfield. Like I just don't know how to, what's it called?
Yeah. And it doesn't always mean that like you think he's going to be as good as Chris Jones, right? But it's like there's a lot of similarities, and I'm almost sure if you looked at Chris Jones combine here, let's see what he did at the combine. I'm sure they probably even measured out very similarly.
Yeah.
That's just a guess, but
if we pass on wide receiver, I like Jack.
Yeah, 6'6", 310, same arm length, same hand length, and he's what's his name? Derek Harmon was just a little bit faster from a 40 standpoint, but like obviously, who gives a shit about that?
Yeah.
And oops, hold on. Yeah, so they're build wise shockingly similar. Literally almost the same height, same weight, same arm length, same hand size. And yeah, they both have the same 10-yard split. So that's actually kind of crazy.
Yeah, they are very similar, but obviously Chris Jones, even though I think player comps should be stylistic and not ability, like I still think that Chris Jones is kind of an unfair comp for a guy like him. But I just genuinely didn't know who else to comp him to because he's so disruptive. He's in the backfield every play, and Howie Arberis says that from a newspaper stats perspective, Grant isn't a sacks guy. I don't think Harmon is either. I think Harmon had like 5 sacks all year, and I think Grant had pretty much the same.
Yeah.
Yeah, but either way, no, Grant, I agree. Like, here's what I will say. I think Grant is better for the current Broncos 53-man roster, but the reason that I'm fine with going Harmon is because it's the NFL and situations change in a flash. Situations change in the flash, like you never know. And I think Harmon just has a better chance at holding value, and his skill set has a better chance at holding value. Jeremy says Harmon's main comp is Chris Jones for sure. What do you find?
In terms of what?
Did you find Harmon's sack number?
Oh yeah, and it was 5.
Oh yeah.
No, that I was sure of just because I recently looked at it again. But yeah, he's not a big sack guy. But talking about, I also like Harmon better than Grant for this team because of the expiring contracts, right?
Yeah.
I think Zach Allen's going to get extended. I'm not worried about it. JFM, I don't think it's going to happen. But we also have Malcolm Roach, who's also going to be a pending free agent too, somebody that is a very valuable piece. And Derek Harmon can play all across the line. Like he can play interior, he can play inside on, pass rushing downs, and he can play outside where Kenneth Grant, I think there's a little bit more limitations there.
Yeah, agreed. Hydrama says, speaking of pass rush specialist, Omar Norman-Lott will be our secondary's best friend on third down. Just waiting for Andy to chime in.
I'm waiting for Andy.
Yeah, I'm waiting for Andy to chime
in. If Andy's still on, he's like, oh my God, here I go again.
Yeah.
Omar Norman-Lott is such a polarizing player, man. Like there's people that absolutely drool over him, which I can understand because I think he's very good. And then there's guys that are like, he's not all that good. And it's like, I'll just take the smarter guys like Andy and trust their opinion.
Yeah, analytically, like he smashes. Like if you look at any of the PFF pass rushing metrics, he's at the top of the list, even better than Harmon. But yeah, I don't know. He kind of has a limited sample when it comes to them. Like I think he only has like 200 pass rush snaps compared to like other dudes with like 400, 500. And yeah, I think round 2 running back makes sense. I agree. I will say round 2 running back only makes sense if they pass on it in the first round.
Yep.
Like Quinshawn, Caleb, I'd be fine with either of them in the second round, honestly. I'd be fine with trading up for Quinshawn.
Trading in the second round?
Yeah. I'd be fine.
Thrilled. Absolutely thrilled.
Oh my God. If we were to trade up for if we were to take, Ibuka, Loveland in the first round, and then you trade up for Quinshawn in the second round, ejaculatory volume.
Yep. That's a lot of ejaculatory volume there for sure.
No, he's not. How he's not, but he's an unmovable object in the run game. Oh yeah. Yeah, he's talking about Harmon there. Or actually, no, he's talking about Grant because he said that Grant's not actually great. No. I agree with that. There are 4 guys to picks there. I think he's talking about pick 20. I think Slam and Sammy's talking about pick 20. The Broncos, 4 guys. Yeah.
Oh, he's talking about the running back. Scatterbo receiving, Judkins elusive, Johnson power. Yes. Sampson is an all-rounder, but not as explosive as the other 3. Yeah, I would agree with Scatterbo and Judkins. I'm not a big Caleb Johnson guy for what it's worth. And then I fail to see the Dylan Sampson hype. I really do. I've tried to give it a lot of looks and said, maybe if I go back, because a lot of times you go back to a guy, you're like, all right, I missed something. All right, you go back to a guy. So that's why, like, eventually Cam Scatterbo made the top 10. Kyle Monungai eventually made the top 10. RJ Harvey eventually made the top 10. I don't get it with Dylan Sampson. I don't think he does anything in particular very good. I just think he's like fine.
Mhm. Jones' 40 time may have been better if his dick didn't fall out. Yeah, that was funny. I remember that back then. Even when I was 15, it was like, yeah.
That was Chris
Yeah,
Jones.
remember? It's
God
kinda
damn,
crazy that that
that
guy
was so funny.
that he's become as good as he is after that happened.
Yeah, he's like, whatever.
Don't get me
He's like,
started.
everybody's already seen my dick. Who cares?
Yeah, he's like, "Alright, whatever. I'm gonna sling it on third downs instead now." Don't get me started. I nailed Tyron Tracy last year as my RB1. You know what? That's not crazy, especially because last year, who were the only running backs of note? Like Jonathan Brooks, who came in with a built-in excuse if he didn't work out because he already tore his ACL.
Yeah,
Blake
the other
Corum,
Tennessee back that
Blake
went
Corum,
to Miami.
Marshawn Lloyd, yeah,
Yeah, there was a guy that went to Miami.
Jalen Wright, yeah,
Jalen Wright.
mhm, yeah.
Yeah, Tyron Tracy was nice. He's a Purdue,
Tyron
right?
Tracy's good. Yeah, Neighbors, Tyler Nubin, and what's his name? Tyron Tracy. That's a heck of a draft. Unfortunately,
It
I
is a
think
heck of a draft. The problem is that they didn't take any of those quarterbacks,
yeah, no,
and
and
so no one really gives a shit.
the problem is their
It's like
coaching
it's
staff.
crazy.
Yeah, their coaching staff is bad. Their front office is bad. So, or has been bad at least until then. So yeah.
Oh yeah, Trey Benson. That's right.
Why is Caleb Johnson always being questioned if he can break tackles at the line? He did not do that. I haven't watched much of his film. So my biggest gripe with Caleb Johnson is he is very surprisingly poor on short yardage situations. And, with the Broncos, that was the part of our offense that drove me absolutely nuts last year. I can remember so many times it was like 2nd and 2 and we didn't pick up the first down. So yeah. Why is Caleb Johnson always being questioned? I mean, you're not a Caleb Johnson guy. You could probably answer better than I could.
Yeah, I think. Well, listen, I think at the collegiate level, he's really good. Yeah, and I always try to think, okay, how does his game translate to the NFL? I just don't think he's particularly like he's not really fast enough, right? Which isn't always. I don't really care so much about fast, but he's not. He's not all that elusive. Like even though the PFF metrics for elusive ratings like show that he was, I was never overly impressed by like if can he make guys miss behind the line of scrimmage and be able to get extra yards? I didn't see a lot of that. I also saw a lot of Iowa's offensive line just being very dominant, and he's just kind of running through a hole. But even in those situations, like he just runs. He doesn't really have much to his game after that. He's a very downhill runner. My biggest problem with Caleb Johnson, well, also, so I not only did I think he's like not a really good pass protector, like I saw someone that didn't really give a shit at all to pass protect, and I don't know what he can give you in the pass game, but as a pure runner, like he's very talented for the most part, like very powerful and strong as he should be at his weight. But I think to myself like I feel like he's extremely scheme dependent.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? Like if he goes to a wide zone system or he goes to a place where he's going to be the bell cow, he's going to do really well. But I don't see him transitioning very well in a running back by committee role, which is 90% of what's going to happen in the NFL,
Mhm.
because he's someone that does get better as the game goes on. He does get better as he gets more carries, but he doesn't make the most out of every carry that he gets. And that's a big problem for me. Like that's
Yeah.
why I love Travion Henderson, because like he was in a split backfield. He touched the ball 11 times, 120 yards, taking one into the house
Mhm.
type of stuff. Like he's got that ability every time,
Mhm.
and so that's kind of what I am.
No, yeah,
What I
you
think.
you you nailed it. Now, the caveat is okay, if you trade up for him in the 2nd round, is he your bell cow? Like 70% snap share? Probably.
He
Probably.
better be.
Yeah,
But
exactly.
but like does Sean Payton do that, right? Because
Yeah, I mean,
if you look at the backs, like if you want it, like realistically, if you look at our roster right now, we have a much higher chance of having a bell cow than we do a type of running back that Sean Payton wants. Like Audric Estimate could realistically be a bell cow. He's built like that. He's strong. He's shown that like if you give him the ball, eventually he's just going to wear teams down. Sean Payton needs a running back that can pass protect and that can catch the ball out of the backfield. That's really what he needs now. And Caleb Johnson doesn't really do either,
yeah.
like at all. Like Quinchon, you see it. Quinchon, he can be a good pass protector. And you actually see surprising juice from him as a receiver.
Oh, yeah.
Omarion Hampton, we know he can do that. He can do those things. He's a good pass protector, right? Travion Henderson, the best pass protecting back in this draft, can obviously catch. So it's like those are the kind of things that I go through. Is it's not so much about the player more than it is the fit.
Mhm.
But like you put like, dude, if like for example, if the Minnesota Vikings took Caleb Johnson in the 2nd round, and you teamed him up with like what Aaron Jones can do with that dynamic combo where like Caleb Johnson can do all the dirty work and then you can utilize Aaron Jones in the pass game, and they kind of tend to run more of that wide zone. I think he's a phenomenal running back there. I just don't think he's necessarily that good in Denver.
No, you basically nailed it. Like, I don't know. Yeah, and also one thing is that Sean Payton has shown a tendency not to be stupid with his personnel decisions, but I feel like he's kind of been weird with them. And I don't want a guy who's like kind of personnel dependent or deployment dependent in Caleb Johnson to be a member of our team over a guy
well, I
like.
think that's the biggest issue with the running backs last year, right? Like why we kept using 3 because he felt like he couldn't rely on any of them to do like multiple things well.
Yeah, no.
And it was a big tell for the offense.
Yeah, no. And I still think, even though Estime like wasn't good last year, I still think deactivating him for the playoff game in favor of Bidet was remarkably stupid. Like at that point, and not only that, but giving Bidet 2 touches all game, like, bro, just can't happen. I'm saying Igbukra, but honestly, if T-Mac is available, I'd take T-Mac. I'd take Igbukra over T-Mac. I just think Igbukra would just mean more to our team. I think, middle of field passing game was my biggest issue with us last year. And I would much rather go Igbukra. The only time I would have gone T-Mac is probably last summer when I was looking at those way too early 2025 mock drafts, and Teddarell McMillan was always a top 5 pick. But, I mean, he's kind of fallen. Now he basically has a coin flip's chance of being picked top 20. So, yeah.
Yeah, the thing about Ted too, like people fall in love and they drool with like, oh, look at his contested catch numbers and he's a great 50-50 guy, and he is. But the same thing with Sutton too. That's not always a good thing.
Yeah.
Like you don't want to rely on like a lot of the times to me that shows maybe you're just not creating a lot of separation, right?
Yeah, no.
And I don't see a lot of that from T-Mac, which is weird because his long speed is very good. Like when he gets the ball in space and he can get going, he flies. But he's not like initially very fast. So it's like you can't rely on just those 50-50 jump balls. I mean, you see it now with Sutton. The thing about Sutton now is he's become way more savvy as a route runner. Like he can get open with certain types of routes pretty consistently. But for the most part, he's not really a separator. He's just like, you throw the ball up to him, he's going to catch it.
Enormous catch radius. Enormous.
Yeah. And so it's like that's always a concern for me too, is like, a lot of people look at like Jaden Higgins, for example, and his contested catch rate was not very high, but he also didn't have a lot of contested catch rate opportunities. A lot of the times he's literally streaking wide open.
Yeah.
He doesn't have to contest that, because he's creating a little bit more. So
yeah. Speaking of pass blocker, did you watch enough of Taj Brooks to have an opinion? No. I'm not even gonna lie to you. No, but I saw a few really nice clips of him being in the receiving game, but no.
He's a phenomenal pass protector. I know that for a fact. Nice. But other than that, I didn't look into Taj Brooks too much. He seems like I got a lot of Audric Estime vibes from him. Like not a very athletic running back, but pretty powerful.
Yeah.
But he can pass block his ass off.
T-Mac realistically should. I think he's talking about him being in the top 10, but people don't like him saying he doesn't watch tapes when he was a freshman. I mean, I don't put a lot of stock into that. Like, honestly, like that clip is just really weird. He's in like a dining hall. It looks like he's half interested. I don't know. I don't really put a lot of stock in that, but
you don't think it's as bad as what Clay Webb did?
Wait, what?
Clay Webb.
Oh yeah, the
Jizzmeister.
The Georgia guy who
the Powerade guy.
Yeah, the guy who jacked off into the Powerade and forced some guy to drink it. Yeah.
That's a fucking story. Aaron Jones saying Cortland Sutton is bad at football. We got a Cortland Sutton hater?
No, this is labeled. This is my boy who lives in Connecticut. It's there.
Oh, okay. I've been labeled the Cortland Sutton hater, so
no,
but I wouldn't say he's bad.
No, I don't say he's like. He's just inconsistent. Down to down, he's just inconsistent. But he was our pretty much only option last year.
Which kind of should tell you something about our receiver room.
Yeah. That's why Igbukra round 1 is a good idea.
Yeah.
My favorite is Burden, but he's an asshole. I don't know if the Broncos want an asshole. Matt Max could be an asshole and the Raiders love him. Burden just doesn't make sense to me. Like he plays the exact same role as Marvin Mims. 47% of Burden's touches last year were manufactured touches, which were touches behind the line of scrimmage. And Burden just doesn't make sense. Like Mims, it would be one thing if Mims was bad, like he was at the beginning of this year and in 2023, but Mims is a core guy now.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, no.
Yeah.
What do you
I
think about
think
Burden?
I agree. I think Burden is extremely scheme dependent. He goes to Kyle Shanahan, he goes to Sean McVay. He's a Pro Bowl or all pro type of player,
Yeah.
based on how they would use him. But yeah, he doesn't fit our offense in my opinion at all.
Exactly. Yeah, right. When you want to quit on him, I think he's talking about Sutton. Drops you back in with just one more play. Yeah, pretty much. Like during the playoff game too, our what's it called? Our receivers were also terrible in that game too.
Yeah.
Y'all watch Kyle Williams? He's a developmental wide receiver one if I've ever seen one. Your thoughts? You know more about these mid round wide receivers than I do.
Yeah. Kyle Williams is very good. He gives me a lot of Emmanuel Sanders vibe. Yeah, that should have me laughing, dude. That should have me laughing. I think Kyle Williams is really good. I mean, I guess the biggest question mark is like, how is he going to translate going from like, was it Eastern Washington or was
Mm-hmm.
it Washington State? I think it's Washington State to the NFL. But I liked what I saw, man. Like I said, a lot of Emmanuel Sanders, like super tough for his size.
Mm-hmm.
Dude gets open. So I thought he's nice. I think it's in the second or third round he's really good. I do gotta hop off though for sure because I just
All
realized
right.
it's 12:40. But
No,
it's
do your
been
thing.
real. Everybody in the chat, you guys are dope. Make sure you subscribe to Kodiak's channel, which I'm sure you are already. And yeah, Kodiak, appreciate you,
Peace
man.
out.
We'll
I'll
see
talk to
you.
you later. Merry
Yeah,
Christmas.
Merry draft Christmas to you too, brother. We'll see y'all.
All right, peace. But yeah. All right, so I'm gonna be solo from here on out, but I'm gonna hang out with y'all. Thank you all for hanging out with me through this. Last year, Mizzou didn't have a solid quarterback. Go look at Burton the year before. Yes, I agree. Brady Cook was not good at all last year. But listen, if that's if we're using the quarterback thing as a rationale for why Burton is still worthy of a first round pick, then why did he get outproduced by Theo Weiss? He literally wasn't even the leading receiver on Mizzou last year. So that's my thing. That's my thing with Burton as well. I big on Kyle Williams, route monster, and absolute beast after the catch. Honestly, me too. Would you prefer Hampton and Kyle Williams as opposed to what? Like, if there is an alternative to this, then let me know. But I mean, I'd still be happy with Hampton at 20. Like, honestly, I would. Hydramo, you're the man, Mark. Yeah, I completely agree. I completely agree that Mark is the man. But yeah, let me know. All right, everybody in the chat right now, who do you want the Broncos to take? Like, if you were the GM right now, who would you want the Broncos to? Um, who would you want the Broncos to take? All right, peace out, Jeremy. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your night. But yeah, um, yeah. Let's see. Let's see what y'all have to say about this one. Um, Derek Harmon. Like I said, I wish. Not gonna happen though. Loveland, all right, cool. Vote for Loveland from Jeremy. Vote for another vote from another Jeremy. Loveland, Egbuka, and Judkins or Scadaboo. So is this Hampton and Kyle Williams to Egbuka and Judkins? I go Egbuka and Judkins. Mecca Egbuka and Quinshawn Jud. Yeah, that'd be awesome. That'd be awesome. Egbuka and Scadaboo is much more of a discussion for me. But yes, Loveland's a demon. I just got to say that as well. So yeah. Either way, I can't believe it's almost Christmas, y'all. I can't believe it's almost Christmas. I'm so happy, man. It felt like this day would never come. Felt like it would never come. My first 3 rounds are Harmon, Judkins, and Helm. Hydramo. Yeah, I think that I'd be really happy with that. Yeah, I'd be really, really happy with that first 3 rounds because, you attack. I think our first 3 rounds need to be some order of, oh, yes, drop a like. Thanks, Jeremy. My first 3 rounds are Harmon, Judkins, and Helm. Yeah, absolutely, 100%. 100% because, you think about interior defensive line, tight end, and running back. Like, that's, I think, a non-negotiable for me as far as picks we need to address in the draft with high picks. All right. There we go. All right, I'm going to have one of my other friends join up as well. You think Horton's still there in the fourth? I mean, we'll see. We'll see. But a lot of people really like him. A lot of people really like him. I think that's really tantalizing and interesting because he was a CSU ram, but 6'3", 4.42 40, big catch radius, pretty crisp route runner. He was injured this year and missed most of the season. However, he ran at the combine recently, a mere 4 months after his injury. I don't know. Like he probably would have gone so much higher if he came out last year. If he came out last year, he probably would have gone way higher. I think Arade Gaston in the fifth would be fine at tight end. Use a third and a fourth on defense. See, the thing about Gadsden is I don't know if he really plays what we want because I've seen a lot of people compare Gadsden to Kyle Pitts and that's not necessarily a good thing, where, he's more of a big slot than an inline tight end, but we already kind of have that in Evan Ingram. All right. But Arande Gadsden, I think he's another one that's really interesting to me because, he was one of those guys who was projected to go a lot higher than he's, kind of been, but he's still a very, very interesting prospect for me. Developmental tight end. Can you make Rask come up on your screen? Yeah, I can. But yeah, that's a really interesting idea, Slam and Sammy Joe. Also, if you are not, oh yeah, his underneath yak ability could be Bonix friend. Yeah, I agree. Is he like good deep too? Talking about Horton, yeah, I think once again, we need to add to the room in some capacity. I don't think we need to spend like premium capital on it, but I still think Igbokwe would be a nice pick. Like we don't need to spend premium capital on the room, but we'd be smart to look at some of these things as well, especially if we were to get some nice developmental pieces there at the wide receiver position. But yes, I can make Rask come up on my screen, Howie. Okay, I'll give you. Also, once again, for all the newcomers, make sure to subscribe and check out some of my other videos because I do a lot of Broncos stuff. I do a boatload of Broncos stuff. And I made my final Broncos mock draft not too long ago. Either way, I hope you guys have enjoyed. And give me 2 scenarios for 20. Running back. I got to think about this one. Okay, 20. Omarion Hampton at number 20. Okay, I got one. So Omarion Hampton with Mason Taylor, or Colston Loveland with All right. Yeah, I think I got it. So Omarion Hampton with Mason Taylor or Colston Loveland with Caleb Johnson. That's my one. And get back to me on that. Yes, everybody, if you could help us out in the chat here, number 20 and number 51 pairings between first round tight end and round 2 running back, or first round running back and round 2 tight end. His frame makes him a tough matchup when he splits out wide. He has long arms and big hands. Gadsden plucks the ball out when making contested catches. Yeah, you're like that. Am I the only person that doesn't like Igbokwe? His yak ability is poor, and we don't need more of that. Core is enough when he falls 5 yards after every catch. Okay, my thing is that we need guys who can separate. Like, I think I'm less impartial to the yak ability because we already have, few receivers who can do that. Like Troy Franklin's yak ability was actually pretty decent last year. Same with Marvin Mims. Obviously, we know about his yak ability on this offense as well. And I think having Ingram, he's not the most explosive guy after the catch, but he will help us in that regard as well. So I get why you don't like that. I get why you don't like that about his game, but I'm really not concerned about him, and it doesn't drag him down my board at all. really in that regard as Colson Loveland. He's a very poor yak from the tight end position, and a lot of people really like him. Colson Loveland's only had 7 broken tackles over the past 2 years. So yeah. You could also adjust to back shoulder throws. He is fast enough to make plays down the seam and runs hard after the catch. Cool. Yeah, I'm sold because he probably wouldn't cost a premium pick to get. Gadsden plays well and against zone and man coverage. Actually, Eric, good point. Hold on. Let me look at NFL mock database. All right, here we go. So, let's look at Mason Taylor and what he is projected to be, or where he's projected to go. 2026. This was a 2026 mock draft. Dang, he's been getting some first round buzz. Okay. You know what? I think it looks like I'm erring on the side of the fact that you're probably going to be right with this because he's currently, yeah, so he's probably the consensus. If you look at the consensus mock draft, he's probably the 3rd tight end off the board. Yeah, that makes sense. And then we got Arroyo, Fannin, Ferguson, Helm. Yeah, so it looks like he's got a 20-point lead on Arroyo, so he's probably the consensus tight end 3. Yeah, I think Taylor goes around 40 to 45. I mean, let's go to. I wish I could find what's it called. Is there a 2-round? Like, I'm just trying to find a 2nd round. Like, if I was able to find a 2nd round. Hold on. Hampton Taylor would be an insanely lucky start. Yeah. Yeah. You're telling me. Fannin moved up past Ferguson. Yeah, he did. Fannin fell down a little bit. Okay, I got to pull this up here. I've heard round 422 Bo Nix reunion with the midget wide receiver. Crazy. Y'all are crazy. Tez Johnson, his adopted brother. Yeah, I don't know. Fannin moved up past Ferguson. That he did. And it was really interesting because Fannin was somebody who a lot of people were really in on throughout the draft process. And a lot of people were saying that we should take him at number 20. But, I mean, I don't know. He looked very bad at the Senior Bowl. But, you don't get the production you did by accident. That's just all I got to say about that. Hold on. Let me pull up the... I do kind of want to see where... Okay. Round 120, Travion Henderson. Round 2, 51, Tyreek Williams. Round 3, Helmer Ferguson would be another, just be different. I really like this scenario. Because it attacks my 3 biggest needs of running back, interior defensive line, and tight end. And yeah, so this is the full NFL draft order. I do think that, Saints, yeah, I could definitely see that. Chicago, I don't know if they're going to, what's it called? I don't know if they're going to kick the tires on Tyler Warren in the first, but in the event they don't, that's a pretty ideal spot for Taylor. So yeah, Eric, I think you're right. I think you are right. This is a pretty good spot for, this is a pretty good range for Taylor, especially because the consensus mock is now there as well. And for that matter, could round 3, number 85, become tight end Terrence Ferguson? Yeah, I would basically say there's a coin flip chance as to, if he's actually going to be there or not. But I think the coaching staff is really going to, try to build around Bo Nix. And obviously we know that Bo Nix and Terrence Ferguson have a great connection. Like, I'm pretty sure Terrence Ferguson is Bo Nix's best friend. So yeah, I could see the front office definitely kicking the tires on Ferguson in the 3rd round at number 85. I think that's something that sounds really appealing to them. And you just let him block or get a, what's it called? You let him, I don't know. I lost my train of thought. But yeah, so once again, this is the entire draft order. Any thoughts anybody has, I would like to hear about draft. Yeah, that'd be a crazy. Wait, assuming round 4, number 22, 165 Oregon wide receiver, and round 3 tight end. I mean, I don't think my number 20 and number 51 changes because Derek Harmon is my number 20. Derek Harmon is my number 20. He will be pretty much throughout every scenario, even though the Broncos probably aren't going to take an interior defense lineman. I still think they would be smart to do it, but probably not going to happen. Who becomes my number 51? Well, the worst area of our team by far is the running back position. So at that point, that's either Quinshon Judkins, coin flip chance he's there as well, and or Caleb Johnson. Like, that's the thing. Yeah, that's my number 51 there in that scenario. Those are my first and second round picks in that scenario as well. So yeah, how we are, Bears. I hope you're enjoying, man. You've been absolutely on fire with your chats, and usually I don't go live. So let me know if you guys think that this is something I should do more. And yeah, overall, after we get him, we just call him Fergie. I've heard a lot of people call him T Ferg. Like, even when I actually went to high school with Terrence Ferguson. I was really tight with his older brother, Phil. I actually haven't talked to Phil in a long time, but a lot of people called him T Ferg back then, and I think, yeah, but Fergie is pretty cool. 165-pound wide receiver kid from Oregon. Not Tank Dell, but Tej Johnson. Are you not sleeping today? Honestly, I was just really mad after the Avs game, and I just wanted to go on and go live. But I think eventually I will calm down. But I'm definitely going to sleep because I don't work tomorrow, and I'd be fucking stupid to not sleep on my off day. But yeah, the Broncos are about to become dangerous. Can't believe making the playoffs last year. I can't either. I cannot believe the amount of limitations that team had and the fact that we still managed to get into the playoffs. But yeah, so yeah, Broncos are about to become dangerous. I agree. As long as we as long as we make the right picks at number 20, number 51, and number 85. For which player? I can't remember what he was referring to, but this is a really funny comment, Hydramo. Let me know what have you been liking my content lately, Hydramo? I know you're one of my most active commenters, so have you been liking what you've been seeing? Just let me know. And what's it called? There was a yes, sorry, I apologize. Couldn't remember Tess Johnson. There was something really funny that happened on Engage 8 yesterday where somebody was like, "Oh, I get Bo Nix and Tess Johnson confused all the time." I know, it was like, that's absolutely hilarious. My goat doesn't sleep. I mean, neither do you, bro. It's what's it called? It's 3. Yeah, it's 3 for you. And you probably have class tomorrow. And you probably went on a bender for your birthday. Or not a bender, but you probably had some liquor. I hear Hawks fans not wanting to get O-line round 1. Does everyone else know their team better than them? No. No. Fans know their team the best. Like, I say this as somebody who made NFL content last year. Fans usually have smart opinions on their team. Like, obviously, you're going to have a homer thing. Like, I don't know, people saying that, Javonte Williams is good last year, even when he wasn't. But yeah. Can you name more NFL coaches that could do what Sean Payton did? A small amount of draft prospects in the past 3 years. Sean Payton is huge credit for me. 100%. 100%. I think Sean Payton has done the second best job, all things considered, of any coach hired or in the past 2 years, because he got hired in the 2023 offseason. So yeah, we have 2 full seasons of him being an NFL head coach. And I think the only other coach that's done a better job than him is Dan Quinn, because he took the Commanders to an NFC championship. But no, Sean Payton has been absolutely absurd. Like, I cannot believe what he's been able to do with our team. That in Russ's second year and Sean Payton's first year, that team had so many problems, and he dragged them to an 8-9 record even after giving up 70 points in that game to Miami. But yeah, This past year, making the playoffs, even when everybody was projecting us to go like 4-13, that was also insane. Well, the Hawks could go wide receiver round 1 before the Broncos then. I mean, they could, but, like, do they really need to? Like, is it their most pressing need? That's the thing. That's the thing all these teams are going to have to talk about because if you want to, re-roll on the DK Metcalf or Tyler Lockett role in your offense, then, yeah, I think it makes sense for them. But with the Jackson Smith and Jigba breakout, I think the idea and propensity of them going uh, round 1, that's absolutely absurd. Deuces. Everyone go drop a light. Have a great night, Eric. I will talk to you tomorrow. Mhm. Mhm. All right. So Jihad Campbell's the other one I hear. I think he's going to go to Tampa. Like, I just don't really see the advantages in taking a running back in round 1. Or no, not a running back, a linebacker. And yeah, yes, bro, I absolutely love your content. Thank you, Hydramo. Hydramo, you're the goat. Absolutely love you. Thank you very much. I was watching all 3 of the small Broncos content creators before y'all decided to do some content together. I assume you're talking about me, Marky, and David. But yeah, those 2 guys have been absolutely great friends to me. And yeah, Hawks fans talking Campbell or wide receiver. I mean, I could get it. I could get it. I've thought about Zabel since that dude is the next Joe Tooney. He plays up and down the O line. Listen, I've been saying this. I've been saying this whole time. I would be really disappointed if the Broncos took Gray Zabel at number 20. Like, I get it. I get it. You want to protect your franchise quarterback. I want to protect. Um, sorry, I'm responding to a text message on my computer. But yes, if we were to go with a guy like Gray Zabel, I mean, I get the vision, especially because he's a very versatile offensive lineman. So yeah, that's my thing. Round 1, Oregon defensive tackle. Round 2, Ohio State running back. 3, Oregon tight end. Honestly, you could make. I saw this mock where this one dude made a entire mock draft out of just guys who have been teammates with Bo Nix, and that was the thing. Yes, Hawks pick before the Tampa Baker Buccaneers. They do. They do. They're number 18, and the Buccaneers are at number 19, but still, I still think Jihad Campbell's going to go to. I think Zabel's going to Seattle, and I think Jihad Campbell's going to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I was saying Zabel for the Hawks as a good pick. Broncos need. Oh, yes, 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 you're right. You're right. Once again, uh, I think it's just because it's 1:04 a.m. and I don't really know what's going on anymore, but yeah, that's the thing. That's the thing. But let's look at some mock drafts. Let's look at some mock drafts just to give us some content to glance over. Sorry, Bo, we're trying to win chips here. Exactly. Exactly. Jimmy Orange Jr. over Tez Johnson. Sorry, Bo, we're trying to win chips here. Oh my god, I love it. 1 Harmon, 2 running backs, then always 3 tight end Oregon, 4 Oregon. So now I need to ask, what if Derek Harmon is gone? Grant. And then if they're both gone, Igbuka. That's my vote. And if they're both gone, Loveland. If they're all gone, cry. Yeah. The Bears are looking scary. Yeah, they are. The Bears are really, really good. The Bears are really, really good. I think they're going to be better this year because I don't think enough people are giving them enough credit for how terrible like Matt Eberflus was as a I can't even remember head coach, but yeah, no wide receiver for the Broncos. Here's my thing: wide receiver, it is a huge need, but it also isn't. Like we have passable bodies at wide receiver, um, and I would not blame the front office for sticking the course with the wide receiver room, and we are going to add in some capacity during the draft, but I don't think it's the most pressing need. I still think we need a number 2 tight end more. I still think we need a running back more. Holy cow, our running back room is horrible. Seattle cut Lockett, traded DK Metcalf, only have slot JSN, Cooper Kupp. They have Cooper Kupp as well, and my goat, Jake Bobo. Trade back if they're all gone. Slam and Sammy Joe, I just want to know, who's your favorite team? Because if it's the Broncos, then or I think is it the Bears? I wanted the Bears to cut everything and loose and give us DJ Moore, but instead Ben Ben Johnson want to be captain save a ho. I know, right? It's paid because Ben Johnson's going to do absolute numbers with that team with Caleb Williams and Romo Dunze and DJ Moore and Kmet and all those weapons they have there. And the fact that they might add Tyler Warren makes that more tantalizing. But yeah. Hi, my name is Jihad. Oh, well, when you put it that way, and I'm on surgery number 3. Yeah, when you put it that way, maybe they can go somewhere else. But yeah, Cam Ward, Travis Hunter, Abdul Carter, Will Campbell. Once again, like every top 5, top 6, top 7 is exactly the same. Actually, this one has Mason Graham. What? Wow. False number 13 is a nice win. Day 1 culture changer, Cam as prospect. Here's your boy, third surgery Jihad. Maybe that's what we should call him now. Maybe that's what we should call him now. Oh, I forgot to add that to my screen. But yeah, every top 10 has been pretty much the same. 4 months now. Ward has aced this process, and he is. Sammy Dubrow, I'm an O-line guru. Zabel is NFL center only. Wow. Wow. You're going to have to elaborate on that because I don't know the intricacies of playing the offensive line position, but if that's how you really feel, then damn. Damn. My favorite team used to be. Oh. Yeah. Unfortunately, I know a lot of people in St. Louis who, because I see you have a Blues hat in your profile picture. I know a lot of people that, unfortunately, went. How do I put this? They went west when the Rams moved when they should have gone east. That's my take. But yeah. Were you surprised by how dirty we did the Falcons last year? That offensive roster is stacked. Imagine plugging Bo into an offense like that. Yes and no, just because Sean Payton had their number for years, and you knew that Sean Payton was going to absolutely bring it when it came to playing against Atlanta. But I'm not surprised because Cousins was on the downswing. Was I surprised at how much of a blowout it was? Yes, absolutely. But I was not really that surprised, all things considered. Yeah, any of these three. Any of these three. Any of these three. I'm just busting your balls. But regardless, I'm gonna keep Membo to the Raiders is one that I have literally not seen until today. Warren to the Jets, Jalen Walker to they're starting to yawn. Maybe I don't have the energy to go like I thought I did. But regardless, Raiders should sell their stadium. Don't they make like $70 million in events alone just off that stadium? Like I know they literally just had WrestleMania 5 days ago there. And they literally became the 8th most valuable franchise in the NFL because of that stadium. It's not because Vegas is like an insanely loyal football market. Like, yes, it's a good football market. But for other teams. I know that because I used to live there. Number 10, projected trade to Indianapolis. moves up for a playmaker. Indianapolis moves up for Colson Loveland. That one's really interesting. Walter Nolan. I'd be shocked if Nolan fell out of the top 15. He might be the fastest riser. Yeah, Flus is such a corny car salesman joke. Yeah, I agree. Like, Matt Eberflus was just absolutely awful. Tyler Booker. I have not. You know what's crazy? I don't know anything about Tyler Booker. Like, I know that he's been mocked in the first round for a long, long time. But Mason Graham, Kelvin Banks, Jihad Campbell, Janae Barron, Mike Green, Gray Zabel, Tedero, McMillan, and Emeka Egbuka. This is the one I'm really interested. Like, what's the Broncos pick? Yep. Boom. Vomit-inducing highlighter alternate uniforms. That's one way of putting it. Cooper Kupp, 1 year overpay and retire. I mean, we'll see. I think it was a 2-year overpay. But yes, our pick for this one was Emeka Egbuka, and this was Peter Schrager, who he's pretty connected. So, and we've had a lot of people, really connected people go with Emeka Egbuka as well. Kenneth Grant, Jim Harbaugh. Yeah, they big school prospect with their first 4 picks and ended up with an outstanding class. And Harbaugh and Michigan defensive coordinator, no Grant. Yeah, that'd be maybe Chargers. Very scary to play against. Let me see. What is our trade back scenario? Should we look at my niece is a cheesehead. It was Green Bay taking. Oh, Matthew Golden. Nah, he's wrong. Dover trade back. Um, is Tyreek possible at number 51? Absolutely. Absolutely. And I think if the Broncos don't, I think interior defensive line is going to be addressed with either the round 2 or round 3 pick. That's my take. I think that's where we're going. Imagine getting a wide receiver when the Broncos have 2 defensive line contracts coming up. I mean, I agree, but their thing is they're going to be like, well, first of all, we can get defensive linemen in round number 51. Now they'd be as good as prospects as Grant or Harmon. No, but you know what? We'll see how these teams view their ceiling, and yeah, I wouldn't hate wide receiver, but I still really think we need to address Egbuka is my number 3 ultimately. Loveland is my number 4. Hampton, Henderson, my number 5, number 6. But yeah. So, also, I saw this and it was really, really interesting. There was a Reddit post I saw that that had the Broncos trading up for Genti. And I thought that was really, really interesting. And let me see if I can find it. Because it was really, really interesting to me. And I'm still trying to find it. Let me check your comments again. No. If you tell me where to find it, I can. Joe, and Kyle, you know what? That'd be really fun. Dover. Is this Dover from 104.3 The Fan? I don't know. Either way. Let me see. I need to listen to it for you. They print money. It's basically a casino sports book with some action of football. Yeah, I've been there 5 times. I could not agree with you more. Okay, this is something that I've been thinking about. A major blockbuster trade is in the works. The Jaguars and Broncos have had discussions about a number of possible trade for the number 5 pick. Denver receives number 5. What do you guys think? Like, do you guys like this scenario? I need to explain O-line. I'm O-line guru. If you're an O-line guru, then that's awesome because I know a lot of people are really good, or a lot of people I know that are really like evaluating the offensive line. Mm-hmm. So what do you guys think of this? Denver receives number 5. Jacksonville receives number 20 overall, 2025 second, 2026 first round pick from us, 2026 third, and Cortland Sutton as well. What do you guys think of this? I want to know your thoughts in the chat. Like, what do you guys think about this scenario for the Denver Broncos? If you guys like this, then I think, yeah. How in depth do you want to go? And you can bring up relative athletic score to help. Yes, I can bring up the relative athletic score formula. Are you talking about Gray's Able? I can bring up his RAS. But either way, what do you guys think about that mock trade scenario for the Denver Broncos? Once again, if you guys are enjoying, make sure to hit that subscribe button and check out my other stuff where I talk about the Denver Broncos because I really like all the support that you guys have given me lately. I am starting to fade, but I can go for a little longer. I can go for a little longer, yeah. Mock Draft Simulator just had Chargers take Kyle Williams round 2. That'd be really scary. That would be really, really scary for us. Yeah, it does make a lot of sense. It makes almost too much sense. You know, with a receiver of his caliber, it's tantalizing upside for Justin Herbert and Jim Harbaugh. All right, so I'm so happy that I got to do this and I got to come on here after that horrible, horrible Avs game. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So Kyle doesn't make it around 3, probably not. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's absolutely. You know what? Honestly, I think it is my time. I think it is my time. I've been at this for an hour and 48 minutes, so I think it is my time to hit the hay. But you guys have been absolutely awesome. Like this chat, you've been absolutely amazing. If you guys liked what I have to say on here, make sure you subscribe. I will be making Broncos videos tomorrow. I will be making Broncos shorts, and I might go live. We'll see. We'll see what happens. But yeah, last few comments I'll get to current trade market: Tyreek, Ramsey, Jerry Alexander, Romeo Dobbs, Mark Andrews, Brees Hall, Kenneth Walker. Yeah, really interesting. If the Broncos want to kick the tires on any of these dudes, then it'll be interesting as well. Broncos, Chargers, Packers, Bills, Chiefs. A lot of teams need a wide receiver. That they do. But either way, Hydramo, Howie, Sammy, you guys made this show awesome. You guys made this show absolutely amazing for me. So I think Eric as well. You guys did absolutely incredible. With that, I going to go to bed. Last comment, Raiders would be dumb to wait till round 3 for wide receiver. Yeah. When you have Jacoby Myers, basically nothing else. That's the thing. But they are the Raiders. Exactly. And they're going to draft a criminal. So basically no matter what they do. So that's it for me. Peace. Love y'all. I hope you guys sleep well. And yeah, Christmas is here. So yeah, that basically does it for me. Deuces.